What's going on, everybody? Welcome to your weekend astrology forecast for the weekend of May 27th and the 28th of 2023. Astrologer Brian Scarborough here, Fixed Air Moon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. Hope you all had a great week. Appreciate you all very much. And I hope you have a great weekend because this weekend is Sun Square Saturn. And if you have a great weekend this weekend, hats off to you. You're doing good. You're doing good because it's hard, and I will show you why. So if we look at Saturday's chart here, we're going to have that Sun at 6 degrees. Saturn's at 6 degrees. That square is very tight Saturday. It'll be exact Sunday morning, but very tight buildup. Again, we have to work for things. We have to try. We have to strive. Sometimes there can be struggles. There can be miscommunications here. It's Gemini season. There could be misunderstandings here. There's a lot of, different things that can kind of try to block or stall something that maybe our mind can be, in some sense fixated on. In some way, expectations can be, it's like if you expect something, try not to. It'll probably put stress on you this weekend. We kind of just have to flow as best we can. The moon's in Virgo. It's going to oppose Saturn on Saturn Day, and also make that first quarter square to the Sun in Gemini. So there's just a ton of pressure. I mean, talk about like Saturday really feeling like a Saturn day, and not like a Saturday that I guess, the weekend's here. It's a holiday weekend, right? It's Memorial Day weekend. I mean, there's definitely opportunity for fun and excitement here, but there's also like high amounts of stress and like mental pressure that become very emotional, very sensitive, very like stunted. Just definitely a lot of opportunity for not a very good feeling. So in some way, we got to like use the mature essence of Saturn, the mutable energy in this mutable T-square, to be very adaptable and to try and flow. And I think even Saturn in Pisces here is like, that's the only like mature, responsible way to go about something right now, is to be liquid, right? Is to be, mutable, liquid, to be able to flow and adapt, because the sensitivities are so high and we can really take things personally. That could, again, put us into anxiety, stress. This could this kind of like the stress that could come if you're feeling too much weight from the world, or from situations, or from expectations, or even in our own mind. I mean, this is the kind of pressure on a day like this where you could get sick, you know what I'm saying? So I hope people aren't getting sick. We got to let some things go. This is like a good test, I think, of non-expectation. Even Pluto at 0 Aquarius, like non-attachment, will be very helpful, because there's a lot of weight. And again, there's a stunted feeling that's out there right now. So we want to keep our thoughts as positive as possible, and I think stay with the moon in Virgo, like stay steady, persistent, stay on it, pay attention to the things that matter. Again, certain things don't matter, and it's going to be those little things probably that are the stress stuff, because the stuff that matters, you're just going to, I think, feel like it'll be worth it to take care of it. So there's that level of this too. Yeah, not a fun time energetically. And again, we can all make life what we want in some way by the way that we respond and handle situations, but there is this like harsh mental aspect where we can bring up a lot of doubts or lose curiosity, or try to stunt excitement in our life. By being maybe way too overly analytical and on it, or trying to clean up or make so much perfect that we're like, right, in essence, just removing ourselves from opportunity. So there is a level of too, like Saturday almost feels like you have to put some work in to have a good time, but if you put the work in and you're able to be mutable and mutate situations and flow, I think there's actually opportunity for a really like purified sense of self-worth and value. And of course, there's so much going on in Taurus that the moon's going to start making trines to this weekend. So it's going to trine Jupiter, trine the North Node. It's going to make some really nice aspects over there. So we're also seeing Jupiter and the North Node get closer together. Your capacity and your knowing that you can overcome situations, that you can get through something, that you can adapt, that you always have that ability within your being to make something quality. Huge belief right there. Just knowing that quality will show up, knowing that every day has quality to it, every minute, every struggle has quality to it. If a stress comes up, it's how we deal with a stress. That there's quality to whatever that response is. Even if we have to just go into it head first in a harsh way, there's quality from the lesson, from learning. And this can feel like a learning weekend just because of that essence of having to like really kind of go through the ringer of reality, which can almost feel like we're stunting ourselves again from whether it's imagination or curiosity or the ability to make a change. It's all there, but I think the belief is so important. And not only just the belief, but the actual like harvesting of the belief with the moon in Virgo. So being able to put the effort in emotionally and physically and mentally to start making these adaptions, to start seeing quality in whether it's a harsh moment, whether it's a struggle, or whether it's the most beautiful day of your life. It all has quality in the long run. And I think we always look back at hard moments too and say, wow, there actually was a good reason for that. So this is just trying not to let our mind spiral us into a dark cave almost of worry, doubt, lack of confidence. That would all be, that would make things harder today, for sure. But I think the ability as well with the first core square of the sun and the moon is that things have to be expressed, that we have to come to some mental understanding, but hopefully in a pure way and not a way of shame or guilt or feelings of, lack or some kind of inept quality, like I can't do that, I couldn't do it, or this happened, so I'm not meant to do it. You got to check into with your heart and your passion and your soul and say like, is this worth, keeping going? And then it's easier to shift your mind and understand better what's worth it and what can be changed, moved around, shifted. So there's definitely a lot of like little tweaks just within the way we think that can bring more quality to the weekend. And there's also the way we think can put huge kinks into the weekend as well. So we have to be very mindful, I think, this weekend mentally, because it's a very mental weekend, and it's also like, well, these thoughts might not feel very good. They might feel very oppressive, and it's likely our own doing. So there's a bunch of that going on. Mars is off, really starting to separate from Jupiter. It's done with the squares to the nodes. So Mars feeling a little bit more freedom here in Leo. So that's one upside, is that Mars is kind of like separating from some heavy aspects. It's been going through the ringer. It came out of its fall position in Cancer, and now it's here in Leo. And again, the more we can like put our energy forward into happiness, creativity, self-expression, I think, anything that can move our energy, because it could be such a mental weekend too, that it's really good to like go put your energy into something. Whether it's a workout or a quick jog or whatever, you want to do, but like actually like physically exerting some sense of energy can actually really clear the mind this weekend. Because again, I feel like we can get trapped a little bit with the harshness of the mental aspects in the astrology. So I think anytime, again, moving your body, putting your energy into something that doesn't necessarily take thought, it just takes you expressing yourself and moving your body, or, whether it's moving your body or moving your mind, it's not so much of a thought process as it is more instincts and intuitive expression. Could be very beneficial to us all as well. On Saturday, as we look at Sunday, we're going to see again, it's still Sun square Saturn. It's separating now, but it's very intense still. And, we can start to maybe see residuals of how we put effort in, how we matured through this transit, what possibly is stunting us in our own psychology, our own mind, our own emotions, different patterns. So I do think we learn a lot this weekend. There's like a great learning weekend. at the same time, but we don't want to like be, again, like too judgmental, harsh on ourselves about any lesson. We want to like see the benefit and, you know, be happy that we got any kind of lesson, whether it's a lesson that you literally are happy to that you learned, or if it's kind of one that was, you know, kind of didn't want to go to that class, but you know what, you went to the class and you passed it, so you might as well be proud of yourself and not say you wasted your time. At the same token, even though it could have that feeling of like, oh, wasted some time, and that could be a mental beatdown as well. But that moon is going to go through the later parts, the second and third decan of Virgo, and it's going to again finish those trines to Mercury, to Uranus, and get close to an opposition to Neptune, which I think is nice. And with Venus starting to trine Neptune into next week, that's, you know, very, very nice for imagination, for trying to really envision beauty, comfort, what you're trying to establish. So the vision is so powerful coming up here, and maybe we're starting to feel that now, and that we have to kind of go back and forth between like the real physical world that we live in and some of the certainty or the density that we're in, and learn how to kind of escape that, but hopefully in a positive manner that is just in alignment with how you're establishing who you are and the foundation of your soul and what makes you feel good and what lets you put your energy into things that make you feel good, and different ways we can clean up reality. So it could feel like we have to, you know, do a bunch of laundry in our life that we didn't really want to do or we don't have time for. But once we do it, we're really glad we did, because now we have like a fresh set of spiritual, you know, with clothes in your in your closet that are taking you into the next week the right way, you know, in a very like tailored, like good mindset, good emotional, you know, place, and not feeling too, again, beat down, because there's a little bit of that beat down. But also the moon is going to make great aspects to Venus as well, and all those trines over to Taurus. When you're able to make any change or adjustment and see things as they are, but to see the lesson in it and the quality, you're going to see huge leaps and bounds just within yourself and the way you feel and the purification that we all go through. So it's like a really, really positive weekend, in my opinion, to be very gentle with ourselves, to be very gentle with others too, because it's just, there's really tense energy this weekend. So whether we're tensed up with ourselves and we're stressed out and we got to take some deep breaths and figure out how to like release and let things go a little bit. But I feel like that's the hard part, is there's we almost want things to go such a certain way, or an expectation that, again, those are the things that really, that's how we hurt ourselves, right? Big expectations, doesn't go the way we want, and all of a sudden we're in a pissed off mood. Whether somebody else bailed on a plan, or, you know, we didn't show up in the perfected form that we, you know, thought we would, you know, we get really upset. So we have to figure out ways to not do that this weekend. And I really think any situation like that, if you can just be nice to yourself, love yourself, go through the healing and the spiritual process of it, you'll probably have a very good weekend and probably feel actually pretty darn good when all is said and done. So yeah, that's what I got for this weekend. As Mars is starting to form that quincunx over to Saturn too. So yeah, Mars is like out of, you know, some of the heavy aspects, but it is still in a weird place with like rules, whether they're spiritual laws or certain energies that we feel are restricting in our life. And we're learning, I think, a big transmutation of just how we understand the physical world on a spiritual level, and what we do and how we put more energy into things that we know feel like there's purpose, without feeling like we can't, or over-judging a situation, or the perfectionism of it, or the exactitude of it, but trusting that your passion will get you there with work and effort if you really feel like it's thebomb.com. And again, if something doesn't feel good, you'll know because you won't want to keep going. It's not something that you have to overthink or judge or analyze. Like, that's the part of this too, is trust. Again, is there a deeper desire? Because you know that there's quality there, even if you have to get through some blocks or push through some things. If you don't, and it doesn't seem worth it, there's no point in trying to talk yourself into it being worth it either. You gotta, like, again, trust what you do know about what would bring more quality and what you would like to have and to hold and to smell and to feel in your life right now. So, hope everybody has a great weekend. Hope everybody has a great Memorial Day weekend. Yeah, it's astrologically, when I look at the charts, not that fun. I'll be honest with you. But we can make things fun. We can learn lessons. We don't have to beat ourselves up. We don't have to, go through more struggle than is necessary, right? We'll go through a moment of struggle, and then we'll struggle even more mentally because of having to figure it out. The whys and make things perfect, and you're going to have to, say F it to a few things and just move on with the moment and try to create a happy moment and a happy feeling. And that is where I think a lot of that's maybe where it'll be a Memorial weekend, and we'll memorize it or have a memory of it, is that we got through something that happened and we changed the outcome overall because as we changed our attitude, we changed our way of thinking about something. Instead of letting it run amok, whatever the thought was or the feeling, it can run amok and make us feel some deep level of guilt that maybe needs to be felt, but then does it really? We'll have to figure that one out for ourselves too. The World card reversed. Well, I guess we're just gonna have to kind of go back and figure this world out in a different way, and this is like right before the chapter turns in a lot of people's lives maybe, and right before a big level of growth happens, that I think we get a world card reverse. It's just like, here's the last test. Like, we thought we were done and with full completion and had it all, figured out, but there's pop quiz right at the end. You didn't think it was coming. You thought it was over, and it wasn't. It's kind of one of those weekends. Well, Two of Swords, upright. Yeah, mental crossroads will get us feeling pretty paralyzed, pretty stuck. Yeah, in the end, I think it's trusting more of your intuition about what needs to be done or tidied up, and not so much the mind, because the mind is stressed. It's under a lot of pressure, and it feels like it has the weight of the world on it, and like every decision is the biggest decision ever made. It's probably not, right? It's probably not. You're going to have to pick something in life. You're just going to have to trust something. Like, literally put the blindfold on, feel, and then go some way in your life. And then don't beat yourself up over the road you took and think you maybe should have went the other one. Hierophant. Maybe this is getting us on a new tradition, something that's very grounded and brings some stability into our lives and brings like a higher connection to faith and to the calling in our lives, because it's more of a feeling thing, and we have to be careful with the mind. It's powerful right now. It can do a lot for us, and we can come to a lot of different understandings and conclusions, but it can also take us too far. And I think this is like, go past that to more of the faith and the feeling and a belief that it's right and it's the way for you, and that it'll be very grounding and stable in our lives moving forward. So if it's a hard weekend, like, right, faith, letting things go, a little bit of surrender is important. Be gentle with yourself. That's the biggest thing I really feel about this weekend, because it's heavy. All right, hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you all on Monday. Much love. Peace.